Hello, my name is Desiree Gray, and welcome to my fourth year independent studies project. So, I am a costume designer, and for my project, I wanted to make a costume for a drag performer named Tiffany Boxx here in Toronto. Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, you know.
Okay. Would you like to introduce yourself? Name, preferred pronouns?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jordan. My pronouns are he, they, and I am the drag queen, Miss Tiffany Boxx.
Woo! All right, how long have you been doing drag?
So I will have been doing drag 3 years this upcoming June.
Okay. And is that professionally or your entire
Yep,
drag experience?
that is my entire drag experience. I
Mhm.
debuted on June 6th in 2017, I think it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Um, and I've never really done it before. It was just more of all my friends were drag queens type of thing until
mhm.
that moment. And then kind of been nonstop since then.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of goes into the next question of who introduced you to drag.
So I fell into drag when I first lived in New York City.
Mhm.
Um, I became friends with some local queens, which have now become drag race royalty on the US franchises. Um, and while I was there, I met Scarlett Bobo. And then when I moved back to Toronto, she introduced me to some other local queens, such as Juicebox, who then became my drag mom.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do you make your costumes yourself?
I do not. As much as they instill on Drag Race that you should learn how to sew, I do know how to sew,
Okay.
but I do not make my own costumes.
Okay. Okay. And how involved are you in the design process?
Pretty much involved. It's usually about a 50-50 process between me and the designers I work with, whether it comes from an idea that sparks in my idea and references. And then it's also just a beautiful collaboration and work together where we see what works with the body, what designs we can make different to tailor it to being its own unique piece of costume. So it always has a bit of reference, but a bit of flair.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how many fittings are there usually?
Typically, because life prior to the pandemic was very busy and nonstop. There's usually only one or two fittings, depending on how complex the costume is. Um, but these are also designers I've been working with typically my whole career. So, we kind of know the structure of Tiffany and the body sizing and everything there. So, yeah.
Cool. And how long is the process usually from design to finished garment in your closet?
Um, it can be as fast as 24 hours,
Mm.
and it can also be as lengthy of a month or two. It
Okay.
all depends on the costume and the complexity of it.
Okay.
If we're just doing a simple slip number and a dress kind of thing, that can be done in I think the fast I've had is 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But the longest costume I'm currently working on has been in the works for about 6 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Excited to see that.
Coming out later, I
Nice.
think probably around fall, winter this year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what do you think makes a good designer?
I think what makes a great designer is someone who listens
Mhm.
to like the concept and the idea, but also is able to understand like culture and pop culture in itself. So
Mhm.
that way they also bring their own flair, their own creativity, and their own references to it to make it their own piece of work. So
Yeah.
then you truly have the owner, like the drag queens, to like flair and spark, but you also have the designers like you can look at it and be like, that's a Desiree design, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Cool.
great.
Mhm. And then what is your favorite costume that you currently own?
So I have two.
Mhm.
I think there's one that very much distinctly designs early Tiffany, and now there's a current one that will be coming soon, but it's like on a new elevation. So we have this one here, which
Mhm.
is like a sparkly pink harness
Mhm.
bodysuit, but
Is
it
it a
also
dress? It looked like a skirt.
so it's a
Oh,
bodysuit,
okay. Okay.
but it also has this cute skirt that on top
Oh.
of it of just like a circle skirt,
Mhm.
very squinty and rhinestoned.
Mhm.
But this is fun because it can be one look, or I can make it like a tearaway reveal
Mhm.
kind of thing where it becomes different.
Mhm.
But my most recent favorite would be this yellow dress number that's
Cool.
coming out. So it's like subtle sequins and sparkles,
Mhm.
but a nice little element that plays into like the Art Deco vibe as well as a musical theater reference.
Yeah, I love both of them.
Thanks.
No problem. Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Yeah. Oh
Thank you for being a part of my project. It has been so amazing working with you.
my God, it's honestly been so much fun. And
Right?
I'm very proud of your like concept to reality, taking it from paper to like honestly a very well crafted costume and design.
Thank you so much.
Of
This has been
course.
amazing. Hope we get to work together soon. Hopefully,
We
COVID's over.
will.
Hopefully, we'll go out.
You will see the outfit twirling and in motion.
Yes.
It'll be stunning.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
I knew that I didn't want to just create one costume, I wanted to make two. So we decided on a reveal look, so a costume that can rip off and reveal another costume underneath. And the concept was to play with the look of masculinity and femininity and how they can work together but also work separately. The design of the costume. So here are my original sketches. And as you can see, there is a suit and a burlesque showgirl costume to go along with it. I wanted the showgirl look to be bright pink, flashy, sparkly, over the top, and the men's suit to be very muted, dull colors, clean lines, and a solid colored tie so that they would have contrasting looks. So when the burlesque look is revealed underneath, it would have a shock factor to it. To help with the dramatic reveal, I had the idea of creating a fan mechanism that would be on Tiffany's back, and when she rips the suit off, it will open up and reveal large fans. I also wanted the fans to come apart so that if she ever wanted to hold them individually or not have them at all, she had that option. So, because I have never made anything like this before, I didn't know where to start. I was making this for another human being, and we were in the middle of a pandemic in Toronto, so everything is shut down. I wasn't sure where to start or how to go about this, but luckily I had the guidance of Alex Gilbert, and she said start with a plan. Break down the costume. How much is it how much is it going to cost? what are all the elements needed? Where are you gonna buy these things? How long is it gonna take? Figure everything out before you begin. So that's what I did. I made a costume breakdown, a cost breakdown. I figured out where I was going to order things. Tiffany and I agreed on a price, and I went from there. So after we had a plan and the design was finalized, I started to create a mock-up. Luckily, Tiffany works with another designer who has a body form, a dress form already made to Tiffany's padded body size. So we had that delivered to my house, and I started to build the bodysuit off of that. I used Tiffany's measurements, the body form, as well as a swimsuit pattern that I bought to create a bodysuit that would fit Tiffany. I from there made a pattern and created a mock-up out of just some black cotton fabric that I already had at home. I purchased padding, a zipper, and I made a mock-up. We delivered that to Tiffany and we had a virtual Zoom meeting. This was a Zoom meeting and fitting, so Tiffany wore pads, wore the bodysuit, and we saw how it fit. Alex was there as well, and luckily the mock-up was pretty good. The part that needed the most adjusting were the cups. I needed to expand them higher up, as well as um, a couple adjustments on the sides. But overall, it was a strong start considering I was working off of just a mannequin and Tiffany's measurements. So now that I had the mock-up finished and fitted, and I knew what I needed to adjust, I can work on the actual bodysuit. So I purchased a four-way stretch bright pink fabric as well as a satin silk fabric that matched. I knew that I wanted to use the stretch fabric for the bulk of the bodysuit. So I cut out all my pieces, sewed it together, made the adjustments. I added a zipper. I added clear straps. I liked the idea of purchasing clear straps because they were adjustable, and a hook and eye closure in the back. Once that was finished, we were able to have another Zoom fitting, and it went very well. The bodysuit looked really good. We were all very excited. The biggest problem were the straps. So I had to sew fabric straps on, and the back. The back was bunching and curling out in the back. And Alex had the idea of sewing boning so that it would help give it structure and help it keep its shape. So that's what I did. Now, with the second fitting complete, I was able to finish the burlesque look. I made all the adjustments to the bodysuit, I added the straps, and it fit really well. I made any tweaks, and then I got to the fun part. And coincidentally, everything started to deliver that I needed at this part as well. So the rhinestones, the jewels, the feathers, all arrived at my doorstep, which was very exciting, and I got to make the bodysuit and the costume look pretty. So I started with bedazzling the bodysuit. I really wanted to stick with the design on my original sketch, so bedazzling certain side elements to help with the hourglass effect. So that's what I did. When the bodysuit was done, I then moved on to the arm sleeves. I created arm sleeves using the same fabric from the bodysuit. I then bedazzled everything, and for all the bedazzling, I used E6000 glue. Here is the glue that I used, the E6000, and I machine sewed feathers to the arm sleeves, and then later decided I wanted it to be fuller and more dramatic, so I glued different colored, like a lighter pink feather, just to give it a bit more dimension. I was also lucky and found this pink elastic, which was great because it matched perfectly for the costume. And we used that as well as the pink satin for straps. I bedazzled those as well. And it was time to move on to the headpiece. So, the headpiece I think I am most proud of. I first bought a headband. I cut the fabric off and reapplied the pink fabric, the four-way stretch fabric, so that it would match the rest of the costume. I found pink hard stock paper and glued that on top to use as a base so that I could attach feathers and jewels. So that's what I did, and I tried to incorporate the same jewel pattern that I used on the bodysuit so everything would match and look like they belonged together. Overall, I was super proud with how it turned out. The before and after is pretty big. There's a huge difference, and I was really excited. Last but not least was time to work on the feather. I called them the tail feathers. So I got some stir sticks from a paint store, as well as wire, some thin wire from the hardware store, and I created my own fan staves. So I took a nail and a hammer and hammered in some holes in the stir sticks so that I can feed the wire through so that the fan would expand and open up, creating fan staves. After that, I painted them pink and attached all of the feathers. I then used a larger stir stick, a thicker, larger stir stick, as the spine of the tail feathers so that my two fans could connect to the spine and Tiffany could wear that. Originally, I had purchased all the feathers from fancyfeathers.com, which is a company in the States, and I thought I purchased enough, but I did not. So I later had to order more feathers from another company, and I got feather trim that looks like this. So the feathers are attached to a trim piece. And I got two separate colors, a light pink and a fuchsia. And as you can see, the elastic that I got matched very well. So these ended up being a lifesaver because I really wanted a full feather dramatic look. So these in combination with the feathers from fancyfeathers.com were perfect, and I have a little bit of extra feathers, which is great, so that whenever Tiffany is performing, if any feathers fly off on stage, she has more feathers at home that we can just glue right back on. So I purchased this clear vinyl fabric, and I used that to make straps. So I cut it in thin strips. I just cut thin strips, use as straps so that Tiffany can wear the tail feathers as almost like a backpack. So she can wear them, and if she want to, can take them off. As well as I velcroed the fans to the spine so that if she wanted to hold the fans as two individual fans, she could do that. It was important to me that this costume would be versatile, and if she was performing, she could do whatever she wanted with the costume. So, with the bodysuit, the headpiece, the arm sleeves, and the tail feathers complete, the burlesque look was finished. It was very exciting to see the whole thing come together, and we had our final Zoom fitting with Tiffany in full pads with the full burlesque costume on. Alex was so excited, I was excited, Tiffany was excited. It looked really good. The only notes we had from that meeting was that the straps needed to be taken in a little bit, which was an easy fix, but it looked really good, and I was excited to move on to the next step, which was the suit. So it was now time to work on the suit. I knew I was not going to make a suit from scratch. We did not have enough time, and I've never done anything like that before. That would have been too unrealistic of a goal. So I started with purchasing a suit and then reconstructing it so that it could be a tearaway suit. So I went to Value Village, and coincidentally, this was right before another full Toronto shutdown. So after this, fabric stores were closed, craft stores were closed, anything non-essential were closed. So this was definitely a journey having to work with Amazon or whatever supplies I had at home. So I luckily bought a suit that I knew was a couple sizes larger so that I would have extra fabric to work with. So first with constructing the suit jacket, Alex gave me the brilliant idea of creating a fake jacket and shirt tie combination. So I started with a men's suit jacket. I cut it up the back. I took a men's white button down shirt. I just needed the front portion. So I cut the back off and I also cut it open through the back. I hand sewed the white dress shirt onto the suit because I didn't want the seams to show through to whoever was looking at the suit. I wanted it to be hidden, so I hand sewed the white button down shirt to the lining of the jacket. I then sewed a fake tie and attached Velcro to the suit so that you can rip it open from the back and everything would come off as one because everything was sewn onto the jacket. It looked like individual pieces, but it really was all one sewn on to the jacket as a base. So it gave the illusion, but it was functional in that it could be torn open. I then applied the same technique to the pants. I bought dress pants that were a couple sizes larger than Tiffany, cut them down the back, cut them around the crotch area, and then added Velcro so that it can close back and then rip open when need be. So now with the final burlesque look finished, the suit finished, the costume was complete. So Tiffany had a photo shoot with an amazing photographer named Quentin. And here is the final video of the suit revealing the burlesque look underneath. This was such an amazing journey. Working with Tiffany was amazing. Working with Alex was amazing. I didn't think I would have enough time to finish everything, but Alex and Tiffany motivated me and we kept a schedule and it all worked out and I'm so proud. And thank you to Quentin for the amazing photos, which I will reveal now. once again, special thank you to Alex Gilbert, Tiffany Boxx, and Quentin for helping this project come together. I'm super proud of it, and I hope they are proud as well. Thank you for watching my ISP video.